Hello. Now we talk about the Holocaust. Why the Holocaust happened. And also, the Holocaust and Nazis. Many historians and scholars of anti-Semitism have put forward many different theories about the causes that led to the Holocaust. However, the world of science does not take into account the word of the Bible. The Bible tells us why all this happened and what is yet to happen. The source of this video is the book Nazis, the Chosen People of Satan. Hitler and the Pergamon Altar in Berlin. The book and this video are based on the word of the Bible, which is God's revelation to mankind. The Bible talks about God's plan for the world He created. This book also explains Satan's influence on world history and the course of events. His attempt to prevent the fulfillment of God's plan. According to the Bible, Israel and the Jews are God's chosen people. Israel is an important part of God's plan. So, it can't be just bad luck that the Jews have been subjected to so much persecution. 8 reasons to anti-Semitism and why the Holocaust happened. The nation of Israel and the Jews are God's chosen. God has a plan for the Jews. Satan opposes God's plan. The Nazis were Satan's chosen people. The church wanted to separate from Judaism. The message of the Bible rejected by Christendom. The church considered itself a chosen people of God. The church therefore did not oppose the Nazis. The nation of Israel and the Jews are the chosen people of God. Genesis 17:7. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. This is God's promise and blessing to Abraham. The blessing was then inherited by Isaac and Jacob, who later also received the name Israel. God has a plan for the Jews. One essential thing in God's plan is the people of Israel, who have been given the promise of their land and an important mission until the end of this time of world. Another essential thing in God's plan is the church, which has also been given an important mission until the end of this age. Satan opposes God's plan. Believers often focus on God's actions, but what happens in the world is also affected by Satan's goals to try to counter God's plan. God has had a certain plan for this world and creation from the beginning, and the Bible talks about it. But the Bible also talks about Satan's activities and goals. So, what is Satan's plan and role in this? He tries with all his might to prevent the realization of God's plan. That's why one of Satan's important tasks is to destroy the people of Israel and prevent them from returning to their land. Another important goal of Satan is to spoil the teaching of the Christian churches and to stay in the truth. Since Satan had already removed the 10 tribes of Israel from history, the goal was now to remove the Jewish people from the face of the earth. The Nazis were the chosen people of Satan. What kind of person could lead thousands of people regardless of age or gender to the gas chambers to certain death without any legal reason? What kind of person can starve thousands of people? To punish completely arbitrarily for minor offenses with death? Such a person must be absolutely committed to following orders and completely without thinking about whether the actions are humanly right. To act systematically, efficiently and purposefully. By no other nation could the Holocaust have been carried out as effectively, as perfectly, as mercilessly loyally carried forward, and as obediently without questioning the justification of the actions. There could be no other choice for the ultimate extermination of the Jews than 20th century Nazis. Nazis were Satan's chosen tool to achieve his goals. The church wanted to separate from Judaism. Most of the anti-Semitic acts took place in the Christian world. And often because of a wrong or weak interpretation of the Bible. The Christian world has not understood or even wanted to understand the background of Christianity as an extension of Judaism. The church considered itself a chosen people. Replacement theology. Even though the Jews played a big role in the beginning of the church, and a large part of the members of the early church were Jews, the influence of the Jews in the church decreased as the number of pagans increased. The Jews began to be seen as the murderers of Jesus. There was no longer a Jewish state of Israel, they had been driven to wander among other nations. They did not have full civil rights anywhere. It was easy to believe that God had abandoned the Jews. The message of the Bible rejected by Christendom. One of the reasons for anti-Semitic persecution has been the message of the Bible rejected by Christendom. It has not been understood or wanted to understand what is said in the Bible. If the word of the Bible is not considered to be the word of God, neither Judaism nor Israel means anything. Then the persecution can easily be seen as some kind of bad quality associated with the Jewish race. And then the persecution would be their own fault. The church therefore did not oppose the Nazis. The Vatican indeed knew better than other states about the systematic extermination of the Jews. The agreement with Mussolini and the events of the Second World War had lowered the authority of the Pope in the world, which is why the wartime Pope Pius XII was even accused of being a Nazi and suspected of protecting Nazi criminals. In any case, the Pope did not act actively against the Germans, although the Catholic Church did not support National Socialism. That's why the Holocaust happened. The main responsibility for the murder of 6 million Jews was the German National Socialist government, which under the leadership of Adolf Hitler managed, regulated, and directed the progress of the mass extermination, but many of Germany's allies and the cooperating population of the German-occupied territories also took an active part in it. The territory of Israel is God's chosen holy land. The demand for the dividing Israel to two states is a new attempt to destroy Israel's existence. Most of the world's states support these plans. The demand for the division of Jerusalem and Israel's return to the 1967 borders is an impossible demand for Israel. According to it, Israel should withdraw from the borders it captured in the 1967 war. The demand would mean, among other things, dividing Jerusalem in two and Israel returning to borders that it could not possibly defend. Those unnatural borders, a holdover from the Arab War of aggression against Israel in 1948, used to constantly attract Arab countries to repeated attacks against the country. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus said, "And you will be hated by all for my name's sake." Jesus said these words to his followers who were Jews and the first Christians. One of the causes of anti-Semitism and the Holocaust has been blaming the Jews for killing Jesus. Anti-Semitism will continue, but the target of the Antichrist's hatred will also be the Christian Church. Probably specifically the congregation of believers. Israel will be at the center of the final events. It has paid a huge price for its own country. More than 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazis and others. Israel has now had to face the deep hatred of the neighboring countries, with which they would like to destroy all of Israel once and for all. The source of this video is the book Nazis, the Chosen People of Satan. Hitler and the Pergamon Altar in Berlin. Thank you for watching.